For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses as we kick off week number 5 of Talking Horses presented by our good friends at Saratoga Water. Week number 5 kicks off. It is day 20, the halfway point. Anthony says it's midnight, which makes sense. You could also argue the halfway point is when they cross the wire for the 10th race today. Excuse me. It's been a great opening 4 weeks for the meet so far.
Sure.
Excited. Weather looks good heading through the next week or so.
Yeah. A little warm the next few days,
yes.
and the weekend's supposed to be gorgeous in the high 70s and sunny. So, yeah.
How are you doing today? You just came from your job as a maitre d', I see.
No.
Yeah. It's okay.
I think you're a little jealous of my fashion
You working
sense.
like a breakfast thing at Louis, or the breakfast? Do you dress that? You should dress that like that for the breakfast.
I will tell you this.
Saratoga.
I saw one of the best things I've seen at breakfast so far. My buddy Sebastian, 3-year-old Sebastian, when breakfast is over, Pat and the guys in the audio department play some music. Sebastian was getting down over by the customer service office. It was a spectacle to be seen. It was great. So thanks for making my day, Sebastian.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Use the promo code SPA200. Become a member of Naira Bets. Keep the money in the game. Support New York racing. We will match the $200 of your initial deposit. What else do we have? We have a Saturday contest. You have until 5 p.m. on Friday to sign up for these. $300 buy-in, all cash and seat prizes. More information at naira.com/contests. Also, Pick 6 carryover day, $187,640 kicks off in race number 5. Believe it or not, it's just the second Pick 6 carryover of the meet. Very healthy one-day carryover. Sarah Live, by the way, today will be on from 1 to 6:30, covering all 10. Look at that. Like a miracle.
Perfect. A perfect segue.
Incredible. Sliding right in at the last moment. Today's first race.
Don't forget, by the way, the low roller contest tomorrow as well, along with the big one on
We'll talk
Saturday.
about that tomorrow.
Okay.
Good idea, though. Don't forget that the BCCA dinner is on Thursday, August 26th. And
don't forget the human head weighs 8 pounds.
Not yours, my friend. Race number 1, the horse that Anthony has on top, and legitimately the horse to beat on paper is probably the 5 Castle Lock.
I believe so. I think it's Lock.
You're the Scottish guy here. And
I am. I am a Scottish lord. That's
here
correct.
He is losing his debut at 3 to 5. You know, I don't know. This horse is 3 to 5 at Gulfstream for Leslie Ward and doesn't get it done. Doesn't that leave kind of a lousy taste in your mouth?
Yeah, you can't be happy about it. I mean, you're not,
I mean, I didn't bet, so I'm not unhappy. Did you? You love those 3 to 5 firsters. That's your game. I know, Anthony. Don't try to lie.
So that's how you get your bankroll to where mine is at, betting 3 to 5 firsters. So
that was good.
Thanks. I mean, it's not the optimal way you want the horse to start his career, but he's at the very least run on turf and made his way up here. And I mean, I don't know. The race is a while ago at this point, right?
I don't want this guy.
Okay.
I picked him second, but I want the other horse. You know who Admiral Halsey is a have to?
He is one of the most infamous,
one of our favorite
$1 million purchases of all time.
Yeah.
Ballon Rose.
Yes, the mighty Ballon Rose.
Mighty Ballon Rose.
She finally broke her maiden. What she cost? $1 million? $1 million.
1-1, I think.
1-1 is a have to Ballon Rose, but
beaten
also
by
is
Xanthique off the claim from Morley that day. Remember?
Yeah. Hey, Xanthique was a tremendous claim by Tom, no doubt about it. I'll take the first time starter over that one, a Warfront. We'll see how the money comes in. Any other horses you want to touch on in this race?
I don't really think so. I thought the race went through Wesley Ward kind of like you did. You just seem to be a little bit more interested in the firster.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Brian Lynch is the first. Really not the second time starter. Not much pedigree. the number 4 Show Canny for Tom Morley. I thought the workout of 10 and a fifth was fairly solid on the synthetic, and the dam herself did win on the turf, so a couple times, got a 79 buyer. The 2 Java Buzz worked a reasonable 21 flat, first foal. The sire is your favorite sire, Emshawish.
Yes.
Race number 2.
The Deuce.
You know, I'm not going to argue with anybody that wants to bet against Extra Effort. We'll take a look at the last race, because the thing you're not going to see as you see the stretch run of Extra Effort's last race is the horse that beats her broke 5 lengths slow in this race and still managed to get by her, and that's a bad sign. I will not argue it. But Rob Atras and Sandy Goldfarb training this horse, this is just a team that wins. This horse is the controlling speed. I've decided not to try to beat her. But she didn't have any excuse last time out, and I can't knock somebody that wants to try to beat her, though I find, you know, and not that you went overboard, other people going overboard and keeping her completely out is a little bit silly, because she is the horse to beat.
She's the horse to beat. Excuse me. She's the horse to beat, but, I mean, she coughs up that lead last time. You can't be happy about the fact that she's gone for 6 weeks and kept in claiming jail, and not only kept in jail, but dropped to the bottom.
How do you know what I'm happy about?
I mean,
you said I can't be. I could be delighted by it.
I can't imagine you're happy about this.
I'm actually a little bit happy. So you've got stunning moneys on, got to start your meet day with Wayne Potts.
Trying to change to Wayne Potts. I mean, this filly's just been running against much better, hasn't she? I mean, really.
She has.
Right? Open quarter, 2 back.
I've got her second. I have no argument with you.
She'll be a square price. I mean, I would imagine off the claim on the drop from the Pryor barn to the Rob Atras barn, they're not going to be able to get enough of Extra Effort, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know. You're probably right. Listen, I got her second. I saw the exact same things you did. And, you know, Busting Bay, you have second and I have third. And the thing about Busting Bay, as we show her last race, she did beat just an awful field in this race. So I know she
had a good setup.
But this was not much field, and she showed up. But I suppose she's in good form, and Rudy's kind of heating up. So I wouldn't be shocked if she ran fairly well in here.
Yeah, the second part of that statement was part of the reason I put her second over Extra Effort. The Rudy barn does seem to be getting going now. So when they do, they're, you know, a little bit streaky. And I don't know. I thought the favorite was vulnerable in here. You know, I'm pick 4 and a pick 5 guy, Andy. So I'll try and beat the chalk with one of the 2, I think, logical alternatives.
No, obviously I don't disagree. Friend David Aragona likes Adeline in this race. I don't know. This is a barn that hasn't had any success, limited starters. I don't know. I'm not sure. He really felt she ran against much better in Florida. And I don't know. She loses at 3-5. Got a 72 buyer, 2 back. I don't buy that fig.
I was going to say the same thing to you. I mean,
that number
along
just
the lines
seemed
of
high.
other figs this year, that just
the
just
second
doesn't fit
horse
in.
3 points lower in winning her next start. The third horse 6 points lower. So I'm a little skeptical that race was as strong as it looks. Obviously, she runs that figure; she can win. But I'm a little bit dubious.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Race number 3. Rudy's running back Danny California.
Trying to pull a Willie Beam in here.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, Danny California won on Saturday. A horse that Anthony had second that I thought was absolutely ridiculous. And everyone I know thought the horse was ridiculous. They knew. He was 5-1. He ran the best race he's ever run in his entire life.
Yeah.
How's he going to? You got him second, huh? He's going to come back in 4 days and run that race again.
Well, to me, aren't the rest of them, and I guess Winston's not
suspect.
just, and Seafoam and 3 Jokers, based on their last 2 races, have to be duking it out with Mr. Buff, don't they?
I don't think so. And we'll take a look at Mr. Buff winning the Stymie. And the thing about it is I have to go back to February to find, not that the race in the Westchester was a bad effort. His last race was bad. I don't know, I think there is a little bit of a question with Mr. Buff if his better races are behind him. On the other hand, I feel like he's probably going to win today, but I can't knock somebody for taking a shot against this guy, and I love Mr. Buff, but I don't think John Kim will be running him if he wasn't doing well.
Can see it both ways.
Yeah. No,
I
can't.
absolutely see it both ways.
I settled on him because I didn't want to play against him. I considered taking 3 Jokers, who we'll get to. I guess it depends, I mean, Joel Rosario puts Seafoam on a mission. Maybe he does. Now, Mr. Buff has rated before.
I think he's going to have to rate today because I do now.
If you drew outside of him, wouldn't you prefer it though?
Right. In the Stymie, he kind of let it all hang out there in the stymie. He went fast
Yep.
early in the stymie and kind of slowed down late to hold off Lymanite. I would imagine he's going to have to rate today because he doesn't have one. There are two other horses in this race,
No.
namely Seafoam, who I think Seafoam has kind of proven that he's a horse that has to be
He
on a
can't
dead
win without
send.
the
He
lead.
has to be.
I-
He has
I
to
don't
clear.
agree.
So I guess there's
I don't disagree. I mean, no, I agree with you.
Yeah,
You're-
there's no way around Seafoam not having to
Right,
get.
they rate him, he'll
gotta get
finish
around one
nowhere.
horse, and
Right.
Joel knows this, and Joel rides him better than anyone. So Joel's going to get to the top, and I would imagine that puts Mr. Buff
Well,
in
hang
the
on.
2-hole,
He doesn't
maybe
have
the
to get to
3-hole.
the top, but he may get to the top. Doesn't have to. Mr. Buff is a faster horse.
He is a faster horse, but at this point in his career,
He's a faster horse. I'm not saying to say with absolute that he's getting the top, but I don't disagree with anything you said except for that. I think you're predicting how it's going to be run, and I don't particularly disagree with you, but he doesn't have
you don't
to
think
have
it's
the
as
top.
absolute as I do.
Right.
Yeah, I usually don't deal in absolutes, but I feel like he'll be going as fast as he can to clear.
Mr. Buff is faster than him. As far as three jokers, listen, I didn't like him last time. I didn't like him two back. But I'm going to say something about this guy. You want the kind of now horse, other than the horse who ran 4 days ago and became a now horse as an overnight sensation, which, by the way, is a tremendous Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention album, if you've never heard it. As I know, John Getzler, our sound guy, agrees. This horse is in raging form.
His
And
two races with the blinkers
It's
have
a
really
step up, but
yeah.
this horse is in raging form for John and
the,
Tanya.
the two blinker figs are considerably higher than anything he's run in the past. So I'm wondering just how much the equipment change helped. But again,
That's fair.
the equipment changes also, and he's a horse that it wasn't like he was without speed, but he's certainly been a lot sharper with the blinkers than the last two starts. And
Well, they've also been longer races, but
what are you
he's
gonna
just
do?
been good.
What are you going to do in here?
What's he going to do? He's going to stalk.
Yeah.
Well, he stalked two back. The
Yeah,
other
no,
thing is there was moisture in the track the last couple times. I don't think that's the reason he improved, but
I don't either.
he has improved. You know, I love Winston's Chance. Fun race, the Evan Shipman, 5 of them. I'm playing against the 4-day horse. You have him a little higher. We both like Mr. Buff. I just can't help it. I want him to win.
Me too.
I love Mr. Buff.
It's my namesake.
He's named after Anthony, yeah. It's sort of obvious, isn't it? Race number 4, I think you and I have the same opinion here. I mean, Gotta Go Mo. It's funny, this is his race 2 back at Pimlico in the very one.
The
I love
very
that.
one, that's correct.
The very one. The very one. The horse's name is the very one if you're not don't know the horse. It's a Steve DeMauro horse, right? You know, it's funny, Dan Silver, I remembered when I was looking at this race that Dan Silver told me he really liked this horse in the race, and I didn't have an opinion one way or the other. And she lost by a nose to Caravel. Now, I think Caravel has improved in her next 2 starts, but she is pretty darn good. And on paper, Gotta Go Mo, who dueled in a pretty strong pace last time, and, you know, keep in mind, 20-2, they went 54-4, so they were going under 11-second clips. So the fact that they went 22/5 isn't as crazy as you might think
Right.
when you see it. She's the speed in here, and I mean, she's just in raging good form. She's supposed to win this race. She might not, but she's supposed to win.
She's supposed to win this race. I mean, Caravel has now won 3 stakes in a row.
Well, she's the best
And
sprinting
big-
filly in the
and
country,
big,
I think.
Big fig, right? 97. She went 100
When
last time.
Ostrolenka retired,
Yep.
she's the best sprinting filly in the country. It'll be very interesting to see how she does. heading towards the
Alexandra.
Breeders' Cup.
He said,
Alexandra.
he said Ostrolenka. He went
Jesus.
to the Wayback Machine,
Wow.
man. Wow.
Wow.
That's crazy. You
My
brought
br-
back some
my
memories,
brain
though.
went into, my brain went into like a crevice somewhere, you know?
2010 call. They want the
Ostrolenka.
New York bred back.
Trained Ostrolenka. Patty Reynolds had that. Todd at Ostrolenka, yeah. It's a good horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Alexandra.
Yeah, this horse is just supposed to win today.
That's funny.
I mean, it just
She's
looks
just-
like
I mean, I know she's a
controlling
short
speed,
price, but-
dropping into where she belongs, right?
I think if you're trying to beat her, you're sort of, and she might lose. They can all lose. They don't, you know, run them on paper. But if you're trying to beat her, you're basically saying, I hope she doesn't show up. Because
Right.
if she shows up with her good effort, she's going to win here. I guess the interesting horse, the horse you and I have second, Secure Connection, because she did kind of improve, and she got the prep at 1 1/16 last time. The problem is, she can't beat Gotta Go Mo if Gotta Go Mo runs her race.
Right, but she's the horse. To me, the way I handicap this race is
I obviously agree
if
with you.
Gotta Go Mo does not show up / stubs her toe,
the race
She's still
comes
going to be
apart
on
a
the
bit.
front end. She's going to be coming back, and I want the horse that has what I think is the best closing kick, and that's her.
Yeah, no. I obviously, you and I saw this race very similarly,
Yeah.
for better or worse. I mean, Too Sexy, I put this up because I wasn't sure that my main man, who, Christophe Clement might not be happy to hear that you didn't pick, because, he relies on you.
Honorable mention fourth.
Saw Christophe at the sales.
She was so
She got a very
great
good
setup.
trip. She got a good
great
trip.
setup.
And
yeah.
I think it's fair to say she's improved a little bit this year. She wouldn't finish the deal in this race.
Yeah.
Having said that, as evidenced by Miner's Queen's performance the other day, and I'm
Awful.
not teasing because you liked her, there is a chasm of difference between the quality of some of these races, and you have to be very careful moving up from the non-winners of 1 to these non-winners of 2.
Now she galloped last time.
But here's a question for you. We talk about maiden special weight to maiden claimer, the biggest drop in racing. Is non-winners of 1 to non-winners of 2 one of the biggest jumps in racing?
Yeah, both steps are from winners to the A other end, and then the A other end.
But the A other end, the 2 is even tougher.
Yeah,
because you've got horses that got.
You see plenty of them win back to back. Very rarely you see them win 3 in a row.
Yeah, it's not easy. We'll see. See how
Nobody
things
said
work
it was
out.
easy. Coldplay said nobody said it was easy, Andy.
The only reason I've never listened to Coldplay, but my friend Simon Bray likes them, so I give them a little bit of, Simon likes
That's
them.
the second time I used that quote in an hour, by the way. And it was appropriate both times.
That's embarrassing that you would be proud of that.
The Scientist is a great song.
I did mention the Mothers of Invention, but they were one of the greatest rock and roll bands in the history of music. Very underappreciated. Frank Zappa, one of the great geniuses in the history of rock and roll and other just music in general. Race number 5. You know what race number 5 does, Anthony?
It starts today's pick
It
6.
does. And there's a carryover in the pick 6.
Look at
I don't know
that.
if you knew this. 187,006. Well, you could have been, in a yoga retreat or something while the carryover was
Nope.
materializing. $187,640. Race number 5. And most sane people consider this somewhat of 2 horses here. One of them being Blitz to Win for our friend Backley Tag. And this is 2 races back in the mud when he ran a race that would win this. And frankly, he caught a killer field last time. And if he is effective stretching out and is only racing a mile, was not a particularly good effort. But, maybe coming back here, and Barkley never saw a horse that he didn't think wanted to go farther, right? Barkley never saw. Every horse in Barkley's bar, this horse wants to go long.
At some point, they
all want to go long.
If he could run him in the New York City Marathon, he would.
Yeah, right. And ride him.
I think the problem.
Or make Robin ride him.
The problem for me is twofold. The last 2 figures are both on wet tracks, and I don't know if that's what it was.
Yeah, but he ran well in a dry track. Four back, 3 back.
The bigger problem is the mile race. And if you like this horse today, you're hoping he just. It's not like he missed a ton of time after that race. It's not like, that layoff line can be a little deceiving. It's not 8 months, it's 10 weeks.
Listen, I'm proud that I got him to move the layoff line to 60 days from 45.
Yep.
My greatest contribution to racing. I do prefer Tivoli Twirl. Show you a stat for John Terranova. A horse that my friend Anthony Stabile has picked on a number of occasions. In fact, I think at least one. No, you picked that insane Asmussen horse in the 2-back. John has good numbers for his worth, stretching out with maidens. This horse has gone on the front end with Joel, and I think that Tivoli Twirl is going to wire Blitz to Win. Anthony's trying to be one of 1% of the players in the pick 6 alive after the first leg with a Neho. Go ahead. I know what you're going to say, and I know how I'm going to blast you.
Blinkers. Now I'm not going to say it. Blinkers on and Lasix. Obviously, this is a little bit of a poke.
No, it's not a little
stab.
It's a wild stab in the dark.
The biggest issue is
Why do you like this horse and don't give me blinkers and Lasix? Because that's usually not.
I'm just hoping this horse can move up on the dirt.
Why?
Because he hasn't run well on the turf.
Say it.
No, I'm not saying
Anthony
it.
Anthony likes this horse because he's a half to Twisted Tom. That's why Anthony likes him. And he knows it, and I know it.
It's part of the reason.
The problem is that Twisted Tom won on the turf. Now, he was a better dirt horse, but he wasn't that bad on the turf when he was good as a 3-year-old. And if you look at the horses in the family, because I did think about it and look it up, they didn't improve substantially. They were better dirt horses, but they handled the grass. This horse hasn't run an inch in 2 turf starts. So while anything's possible, it belies the pedigree to say that this horse is going to be significantly better on the dirt, and that's my problem with this horse. I get him as a bomb, but
Okay.
I mean, this horse can't run. Next step, throw it in the dirt, right?
Right, but let's also take into account here that the 2 horses that are 6-5 and 8-5 have hit the board or combined 3 times from 9 starts. So it's not like we're taking these horses that are knocking at the door. I mean, these horses have gotten beat significant ground. So to take a little stab here, and I'm not saying. Listen,
I don't agree with you.
Okay.
It's fine, but I don't agree with you. I actually think the 1 and 4 are both very legitimate racehorses.
Okay.
And I think it will be extremely surprising if both of them lose without an incident in the race. I'm not saying they will run 1-2, though I expect they will, but I'll be very surprised if one of these 2 horses doesn't win.
Okay.
And I think in a pick 6 sequence, which contains 4 straight races that are extremely difficult, and wide open, though scratches in the 9th may have helped that one a little bit. I thought this was a race not to get cute, lean on the 1 and 4, and try to move on the late pick 5 after a quick break as we hear from our wonderful friends at Saratoga Water.
Make business meetings exquisite. Make a weekend outing exquisite. Make a late night snack exquisite. Make a night on the town exquisite. For nearly 150 years, the Saratoga Spring Water Company has been producing the finest spring water available anywhere. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
We're back. The Big A, Anthony Stabile,
That's
Andy
me.
Serlin.
In case you were confused.
We do look alike, no question about it. Very similar.
You got a haircut too?
I did get a haircut.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. Went to see Christina.
I had to go to
down
a
at the
new
Beauty
guy.
Society.
I had to go to a new guy.
Got her. Willie wasn't there. She did me a favor. She was there by herself, so I didn't have to put up
Nice.
with Willie. You don't know Willie.
No.
John's brother.
Oh,
He's
I
a
didn't
great
know.
man. She's an incredible woman for putting up with him, but he is a great man. I think he might be coming today, she told me. She warned me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice seeing them. A little trip down to Malta. So, race number 6. No argument. The horse you picked is clearly the horse to beat. We're trying to place Ms. Penelope pit stop exactly.
Yeah, if Michael
Is that-
Imperial,
that's
if
like
you're
a-
watching, text me with the cartoon.
Is that like
it's
Dudley
from.
Do-Right? Is that?
I don't remember.
Was she like the foil for who was the
I'm
character?
99% sure it was before my time.
Who was the Dudley Do-Right was always fighting against somebody. I think that she
I
might have been the
don't
one they
know.
tied to the railroad tracks.
I don't know. No.
I think.
Oh, maybe.
I think that's what it was. I think
Maybe.
so. It's coming back to me. My childhood when it was a dark time. Anthony hadn't been born yet. I try not to remember those moments, but sometimes
BA
they come back.
before Anthony.
Yeah, right. BA. Before Big A. BBA.
BBA.
Before the Big A. I can't knock this horse's race. You want to talk about it?
I mean, she went to the lead. Blinkers go on now. She comes from Monmouth. I mean, dropping in from the special weight down at Monmouth here.
It bothers me a little bit that the winner was the other speed, and she was a short price in that race. So they expect her
Well,
to run
she's supposed to be a short price, right? She's tripping in for Rudy.
No. She was. I don't care what she's
They
supposed
bet
to or
those
not.
out of town. They bet our shippers
She was
a lot.
9-5 in that
Heavy
race.
Andy.
She dueled with a horse who won the race, and she finished 4th. These are all factual.
Yeah. Well, now
And-
she gets a equipment change that
And she's probably found the right field.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing, but she was favored in that race. And she dueled with the winner, so she wasn't against race dynamics, and she ran 4th. I think those are important things to note.
So
And-
Tommy Bellhouse is telling me that Miss Penelope pit stop was from the Wacky Racers.
Oh, that would make sense. Goggles? She had goggles. Who was the one that got tied to the tracks?
I don't know. That's all I got for you.
So, Starship Dreams. For those of you that haven't seen the replay, we're going to show you a great deal of Starship Dreams race because that's what we do. She will break a good 2+ lengths slow behind the field.
Looked a little bit more than looked a little more than 2, didn't it?
Well, I think it was about 2. And as
Yeah.
you see, the rider is hustling her massively into the race. I don't know about you. These moves don't really win. And she makes this crazy wide move while the one's getting a perfect trip and comes up the rail to win the race. So breaks at least 2 slow, drops back even farther, makes this kamikaze move mid-race, and then the race starts falling apart, partly because of this kamikaze move, and she's not able to finish. But I'm going to tell you, I thought she ran okay in there. Now, the winner's not much. I'm not sure what she was facing. But I thought this horse really ran well and a lot better than that 47 buyer suggests. Easily 10 points higher, easily. So my feeling was that I don't think she's that less likely to win than Ms. Penelope Pitstop. So at a better price, I picked her. I do think your horse is the horse to beat. I don't argue with that. Bonkers is obviously the weirdo horse in here. I don't know. I mean, I know she ran 1-6 furlong race and ran third. Honestly, why am I supposed to be? Why am I supposed to think this horse is supposed to win this race? Other than it being Mike Maker, right?
That's it. And that's the only.
By the way, you say she's slow. Neither one of our horses is particularly fast.
I understand that, but
she'll win if neither one of our horses show up.
So she needs 2 horses to not show up. And for argument's sake, you're making your big ticket. You're now going to increase the ticket size by 50% because of Mike Maker. Because there's no other real reason at this point for me to really like that.
This is why I would play multiple tickets. Right. I would use the 1 and 4 as A's in the first, and I'd probably lean on them almost completely. In this race, I would have the 3 and 4 as A's, and I would have the 2 and 5 as C's. For what it's worth, and we have talked about this before, but Juan Vasquez has won a race now, so you can't keep knocking him. No. He has very good numbers, and you made the right point that these are at Parks. But for what it's worth, he's pretty good off the claim in maidens. Now, I'm not in love with this horse, but it's not like either the 3 or 4 have to be that good, Anthony.
No, that's true.
So I would use the 2 and 5 as C's.
Okay. As would I. I mean, obviously, we picked the race very similarly.
We saw the race in a similar fashion. I don't think there's a big disagreement there. Race number 7, I thought, was one of the more interesting races on the card. And we're going to show a race where Anthony picks one and I pick the other one. I will talk about Earthstrike, and then you can talk about Miss Delicious.
Okay.
For me, with Earthstrike, everybody was talking about Amy C., who I know she broke a little slow, but they both saved ground for most of the race. Amy C. angled out the last step. They didn't cover much different in Trackus. And you look at Earthstrike, and Joel's trying to find room. It's a super slow-paced race, and he doesn't really get himself out of there, and he's always patient and stuff to the 8th pole. And she's supposed to try to close into that ridiculously slow pace in the late stages. I thought she ran reasonably well, and I thought so many people focused on Amy C., and it's not like Earthstrike doesn't have reasonable dope before that. She was second behind Technical Analysis. I think she's okay, and I'm going to give her another shot in here and hopefully get a cleaner trip in a tough race. Why do you prefer Miss Delicious, who I do have 4th?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping she can wire this bunch. I know she tried to 2 back, and she got run down late in the game, but it took a pretty good effort from Amy C. that day. She does have to go to mile and 8. The 2 mile and 16th races are good. She's a need-to-lead type. Last time out, she was broke widest of all post 8, going the mile on the inner. She didn't make the lead, and her day was kind of over. She has 2 races on her card where she doesn't make the lead, where she doesn't really do much running. The other 2 races, she's competitive. She wins, and she almost pulls off the A other end.
Right, going preposterously slow paces. And the reality is that she's not really fast in the Magisterium, and given that Luis Saez is on Magisterium, and I would think that she's going to be aggressive in here. Now, maybe she'll outrun her, but let's be honest. It's not like Miss Delicious has ever shown that she's particularly fast.
Agreed.
Now, what she has going for her here, but this is a reason that Luis Saez should be aggressive with Magisterium, is we're taking the rails down the inner for the first time this meet. Now, that doesn't guarantee a gold rail. The first inside 2 paths could be very good, but the rails have not been down for the entire meet on the inner. And we're probably doing that with the 4-star Dave in mind this weekend at 1 mile.
We did this last year, I believe.
Right. I'm sure Glenn follows a similar path as long as it's worked in the past. But that does suggest to help the inside paths. Joel's a good rider at saving ground, so I'm not sure that should really hurt the 4. I hear you with Miss Delicious. I do. And I'm not. My problem with her is I know she's run well a couple of times. Did she ever really run that well? That's my problem.
And you could be right.
And I would use her, Anthony. I'm not throwing her out.
I'm just hoping that with the post relief from last time, that she is just aggressive, and now you're telling us the rails are down. Just hoping that Johnny's aggressive with her.
She's going to look to be aggressive, but she's just not that fast if somebody else wants to go. You do wonder, isn't Javier supposed to be aggressive with Town Avenger? I mean, this is a horse that stretched out from a 5.5 furlong race and was way back behind a crawling pace in the Tepin. Now, she did break 3/4 of a length slow in that race, but she was lugging in maybe a bit in the stretch. Looked to me, I wasn't sure. Isn't she supposed to be more forward? But she has to overcome a tough post.
You and I talk about this all the time. It's almost like sometimes around here, most of the time around here, decisions are made in the jocks room.
Javier is a smart guy.
He is.
You say what you want.
But
Javier has looked at this race, and he knows this horse has to be more forward.
But I also wonder, Andy, if that post scares them a little bit.
But if you have that
the
post,
decision is, look, let's try and save some ground.
But the only way to save ground with her is to be very aggressive with her.
You could be right.
Is to at least create some separation. If you don't make the lead, get yourself in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you're better off doing that than just lollygagging around and ending up 3 or 4 wide in the first turn.
So there's a big enough run to the
exactly.
long enough run to the first turn
to
get over.
So he can get over.
You could be right.
You
just hope these decisions aren't being made. Well, you know, obviously
that's
the
that I can't worry about.
Right.
I have to assume that the riders. And one thing you
Post
say,
8 now
and one thing about Javier's smart looking at these races, and he knows that. And if you look at this, and Brian Lynch also, look at the last race. You can't give her the same trip she got last time.
She can't win.
There's a horse that closed to win a sprint in her first time is not likely to close to win these races,
Correct.
especially at 9 furlongs. So you've got to get her at least in the game. And it's hard to know how fast she is early, you know what I mean? Because of what happened last time. Now, listen, she was supposed to break, and she didn't break last time. But you have to assume that they're going to break.
She's not going to break, right.
I mean, I'm not, you've got her second, I've got her third. She's a horse who can win. I didn't want to take her at a short price. I think you and I saw that as well. I think Community Adjusted's going to run better in here. She just never really got herself into a comfortable rhythm last time. And she was always a little bit off the rail, 2 to 3 wide in the second turn. And I don't think she ran that badly. I know she wanted 1.25 miles. And listen, when she won, she got a great trip and a great ride from Manny. But I think 1 1/8 miles, the cutback might help her a little bit. And I think they have to try to find position with her.
I don't want to say she was outrun last time, but they could have been going a little too quick for her up front.
No, I agree. I agree.
And they got away from her a little bit, and
the winner got a great trip.
And that doesn't figure to happen in here.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting race. Listen, I don't know about Jordan's Leo. Is not really turf on this horse. She's going to take money also off dirt races, and obviously I respect Todd Pletcher, but I didn't really find anything to particularly like. What about Lachine? I didn't think Lachine was impossible.
Not impossible. No, not impossible.
I mean, she improved going longer, but maybe she's just getting her act together.
Yeah.
It's a good race.
Yep.
I know this was, I think that's why I would want to lean because, potentially you could single in the last race, and we'll get to that race. It's a shaky single, but you might almost have no choice, depending on what your bankroll is, at least on main tickets. Race number 8. I'm going to tell you something, Anthony. I struggled with this race. I absolutely struggled with this race. I do think that Betsy Blue is the horse to beat. We'll look at the last race. I put My Rocks Go in front because I know it annoys you. My general feeling about this race, and by the way, a Willaway even ran okay in this race with kind of a wild trip and does get a rider switch. It poured shortly before this race. And I think in pouring, it helped the forward horses, and I think it helped the winner. And I think, conversely, it hurt Betsy Blue. And if you look at Betsy Blue between horses, Irad never really got her to get to that position to make that clean run. There were always horses outside of her. She was bumped around a little bit. But to be fair, she's going to be a short price. And how much better did she really run than My Roxy Girl? And I know you've knocked My Roxy Girl at times, but isn't it fairly clear that My Roxy Girl has refound her better form?
I guess. I'll say this, too. Awesome Debate came back and did not run particularly well at Finger Lakes this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, she may have been helped by the way the racetrack played out.
Yes.
And now listen, it might not have been a very good race. Also, it's not like either of these horses are incredibly fast.
I think Betsy Blue's also helped by the extra furlong today.
Really?
The 7. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't think so?
I thought she was the horse to beat. I picked the 5 at a much better price. That was all. I don't think she's that far off her. I don't mind taking 6 to 1 on her. There are a lot of differing opinions in this race.
I'm going back to my man Wayne Potts. Look, Honey Money has been in really good form since Wayne claimed her. The one bad race came in the mud. It's a surf. She's never really run particularly well on wet tracks. She was able to rate off the pace after winning her prior 3 on fast tracks, wire to wire. I mean, I think she makes an awful lot of sense in here.
Here's the problem, though. Doesn't Trini Luck have to go after her last race?
And she was able to rate last time, so I can't imagine
But
she's
it's
going to be a
7.
problem rating here.
But it's 7.
It
And
is.
And this time you're not worried because I don't think they'll be crawling. They'll be crawling. I think the pace will be honest here because I think Trini Luck's going to go. My question with Trini Luck is where the heck did that race come from?
Yeah, I don't know.
Was it a little moisture in the track?
Maybe.
You and I tried the race before that. I thought she stunk.
She was not good. She had dead aim and did not run 2
A
steps.
perfect trip. Manny
Yep.
gave her a perfect ride.
Yep.
But maybe she's come alive for Rudy, who's live. I don't like her, but I'm not going to be shocked if she wins. Smart people I know like her.
I like Honey Money. I think
Yeah.
Honey Money's in form, and
Okay.
I like Honey Money right from just
She
off
can
the
win.
pace.
Listen, honestly, I won't be surprised if the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 win this race. And even the 7 had a bit of a trip last time. I just don't think she's good enough to win this race.
Right. Yep.
As far as Diva Banker, I mean, she got a good trip last time. But despite Ray Handel not making good on buying us dinner,
Not
and
once.
again, Ray, just come up and give us the cash instead.
Yes. There's a pick
I'll
6
take
carryover.
Anthony's share.
There's a pick 6 carryover today, Ray.
Yeah, you make a great point. To be fair, this horse is in improved form, and just dismissing horse, dismissing a horse in good form, especially from a trainer whose horses are live. You do it at your own peril. I don't love her in here, but you're going to be shocked when she runs well. I mean, she's fast enough to win this race.
I'm using the 2, 3, and 6. I liked her when she scratched the other day.
I know you did. That's why that's one of the reasons I showed it because I thought you might pick her again.
Honey Money's
But
in
I
such
forgot
good,
that Wayne Potts was in
Yeah,
here.
but Honey Money's in such good form. Not that this filly isn't.
By the
Not
way,
that this filly isn't.
important information was just delivered to the
I
desk.
saw that.
This is the kind of thing that makes Talking Horses the great show that it is. Nell was tied to the tracks. And frankly, Anthony, I'm a little disappointed that you didn't know that. I count on you for this kind of important information.
I'm getting conflicting reports that it was Miss Spinelli Pitstop who was tied to the tracks.
I don't know. They're saying it was Nell.
Dastardly Dick and Muttley. I don't know what's going on.
Dastardly Dick.
Yeah, so
There's apparently a lot of information out about such
a lot
an
of
important
disinformation
issue.
out there as well, apparently.
Steve hasn't checked in on this one. He's checked in a couple other things. But, he made me point out, and thank you, Steve, for that, about the rails being down, so I appreciate that. You all do as well. Race number 9 is the Mahoney, named for Pat Mahoney and his family and their important contributions to the parimutuel betting and racing. Fascinating people. Pat Mahoney. Did you know Pat?
I did not.
Oh, you missed out. Pat was our head of mutuals for many years at Naira, retired a few years ago, and really one of the good guys and very knowledgeable, added a lot to racing, added a lot to Naira. And Pat and I always had a good time talking about racing. I miss him because his office was right by mine at Aqueduct, and we used to talk quite frequently. So hopefully he'll be here. He was here last year. He's a good man. I owe him an email. See if he's coming today. So, look at this. As if I'm telepathic. Anthony's top choice into the Sunrise,
Scratched in.
who I don't like at all. Here is a replay of his race 2 back winning at Belmont, where he absolutely walked in the front end when all the speeds rated. Doesn't he have a problem with Momos today?
Yeah, he's not going to make the lead. Momos is going to make the lead.
Well,
I
he
would
was fast
imagine Momos
last
is gonna
time. It'll
make
be
the lead.
close. I agree. Momos is faster.
I like the source today. I
Why?
like the source a lot today.
A lot. You scratched
Yeah.
into him, but you like him a lot.
I like the source a lot
Her.
today. Yeah.
Steve says it's Sweet Polly Purebred. Steve Bick. Another Steve enters the fray. He's watching Talking Horses for the first time this year. Maybe ever. He's at the track. That's the only reason.
And Michael named one Sweet Polly Purebred. There was one.
What do you like a lot about this horse?
This horse, I feel like this horse has had a good 3-year-old season, rounding into form. And I'm going to tell you this, too, and you're going to give me a little hooey on this. This horse's body of work on firm ground is a lot better than it is when there's moisture in the ground.
You're right. I don't worry about that. His races are fine last year. But
you look at his big fig.
Yeah,
Big fig last year comes on that firm ground at Woodbine. That's where it comes.
To me, this horse is completely and totally dressed up by circumstance. He's not making the lead in this race, and in all likelihood. And also, I don't like how United and whatever, the second place horse for Tom Amos ran when I bet him in his next start, albeit in a tougher spot. But that bothers me, how that horse ran next time out. I don't like this horse. This is the horse I'd take a position against. Would he be a C on my tickets? Probably. Because I could guess there's a scenario he wins. But he'd be no better than a C for me. We just have a different opinion, which is fine. I want to show Skies Not Falling's entire race from Colonial Downs because I don't believe the chart has been corrected. He is the number 12, breaking from the far outside, and got an excellent ride by Carrasco. But if you look at the chart, and my understanding as of yesterday, it wasn't corrected, it's wrong. They transcribed, he's last, second to last now on the outside. They transcribed with another horse. And I think it's important for the people who are watching the show to know that that running line is completely wrong. Now, having said that, this horse got an exceptional ride and an overall decent trip because they were moving up front. And the horse who won this race, Grateful Bread, aside from having a great name, would win this race today. But you could argue that Sky's Not Falling had a pretty good trip, all things considered, but he still had to work out that, and I think he just lost to a horse. Right there, he kind of gets shuffled a little out of position, and he has to find room down the inside. He's a little steadied briefly as he cuts over in front of that horse inside of him, but I don't think his momentum got stopped that severely, but he did come through on the inside, and he lost to a horse, Grateful Bread, that would win this race. And I respect Mike Trombetta. Those were older horses, opening day of Colonial, but I wanted to show that race so people would realize, at least that are watching the show, that that chart line is the only thing accurate about it is the second place finish.
Yeah, the margin. Yeah. The horse makes a ton of sense to me.
You've got him second as well.
Yeah.
I do have a video for Momos, and then we'll talk about my pick. What is Momos what's that name from?
I don't know.
It's a funny name. I think of Get Shorty, but that was Momo. Maybe it's several Momos. Probably not. He's a threat to water the field. Chasing Artie's pretty good. Who beat him last time, Anthony?
Yeah, Chasing Artie came and ran him down this day. He's going to get in front.
One in synth.
He's going to get in front. He's never won on the turf. So he'll be looking for his first win in this race on the turf.
Yeah, he ran well enough last time to win.
Yeah, he did.
Thought he ran pretty well in the futurity, frankly.
Yeah. He'll still be looking for his first win on the grass.
I think he's dangerous in here. I like Arrest Me Red for what it's worth.
I'm really surprised by this pick.
Why?
Well, when Arrest Me... Well,
no, go ahead.
I mean...
You're allowed to make fun of my picks. I make fun of yours all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he rode the inside.
He rode the good rail. Absolutely, no doubt about it.
I was stunned by this. Well, that's his only real fig.
Well, those are 2-year-old figs. And I don't take the 2-year-old turf figs that seriously. One of them was a mile and 16th. And I don't think he ran that badly, frankly, in the Bourbon. A race that ended up completely falling apart at a mile and 16th. I actually think this horse is pretty good.
Okay.
And I think that and you're absolutely right, by the way, what you said.
I was stunned. When I saw this go, I was like, wow.
What Anthony's referring to is when this horse won at
opening weekend at
Aqueduct in the last 2 years. There has been a gold rail on both turf courses. No, you're right. You're not wrong in saying it.
When I saw this,
I would have pointed it out as well, but you're right.
Wow.
No, you're not wrong. But I actually think this horse might be pretty good.
Okay.
That's my feeling.
And goes to Wesley Ward for the first time.
Right, and I like the trainer switch a little bit. This is a competitive race. I would be mostly leaning on the 8 and 3 with a little 7. I'd probably be 3 8 as A's. B would be the 7, and the 1 would be a C. You know, depending on how much money you can invest. And it always comes down to how much you can invest.
Yeah,
but that's how I would look at it. You like the 1 a lot more than I do. We'll see how it plays out. An interesting running of Mahoney, named for our good friend Pat Mahoney and his father as well. So I'm going to tell you something that annoys me.
What annoys you, Andy? Just one thing?
This is annoying as we go to race 10. I think that I have no problem, by the way, with somebody who wants to try to beat Clever Fellow. And I think the world of Mike Beer, and Mike Beer did put him third. You've got him second, and I get it. We'll get to him. Wait for the replay for a second. He's got a lot of dog in him. There is no doubt about it. You know, Chad Brown knows it. I know it. You know it. You and I know Horseshoe might pass him in the stretch. But for this horse to have been left out by everybody except Mike Beer and not even appear in their consensus 1, 2, 3 picks is ridiculous. To not acknowledge this horse by picking at least second and third.
If they ran this race 100 times, this horse is supposed to win 60 of them.
A lot of them. Right. And once again, I have no problem with trying to beat this horse. I don't think that's a problem. But to not acknowledge the horse at least second or third, particularly second, to me seems a little bit silly. Because we'll show the last race, and Viking Zim couldn't catch him. And my problem with Viking Zim is I don't think he's good. I think the mile 16 is bad for him. He's a closer that hangs at the end. 2 straight races that he's made his move and not really finished up.
He does not finish up. I agree with you 100%.
Clever Fellow is I would lean heavily on Clever Fellow in this Big Six, and I would be very happy if I got here. And when I lost, I'd say, you danced with the girl that brought you there.
Yeah.
Because this horse is finding ways to lose. But in saying that,
Dancing with the Stars came back
Dancing
to
with the
win.
Stars came back to win. This horse actually ran very, very well 3 races back when he moved way too soon into a fast pace that collapsed. And he lost to a Cala Dream in bar 14.
Stakes horse
who would
and
beat
Ocala
this
Dream.
field by a
State Prince
pole.
Stakes horse.
So it's not like he's just laying down completely. And as you say, with Dancing with the Stars coming back to win, it elevates the last race a little bit,
You
makes it less
surprised he's
pathetic.
dropping him in?
No. What's he going to do with this horse? It's a 5-year-old in the middle of August.
Right.
They're trying to win a race. What are they going to do with this gelding? Keep
Yeah.
running second and third, maiden special weights till he can't run anymore? They're trying to get a win. It's Saratoga, and this is where he belongs.
And look, I took one shot against him
Which is fine.
with Rudy, who's starting to heat up. And
this-
that was pretty much it.
Anthony, this
If
horse is terrible.
I know
This
he
horse is worse than Clever Fell.
I know
This
he
horse
is.
lost in a pitiful race
I know
last
he
time.
is. I know he is.
Ruse also won out of the Clever Fellow race, by the way.
Yep. Listen.
Key race. Oh, it was a key race.
Listen.
2-1.
If it
horse,
wasn't
Anthony.
Rudy,
This
I
horse.
probably wouldn't even take a shot against this horse.
This
but
horse's last race
Horse
might
gonna
be
be
the
3 times
most
the price,
embarrassing
and that
loss
was
in
it.
New York this year. Okay. Good
that
luck.
was it.
Good luck.
I'll be honest.
No,
we always
fine.
try to be honest. I'm telling you why I did it.
I'm going to be dishonest. No, kidding. Okay.
That was it. 4s and 8s.
Yeah, a lot of conflicting information about this whole
Yeah,
Nell
well,
and
I'm gonna go home and Google
Sweet
it.
Polly purebred. There's a whole lot of stuff
I'll
going
figure it out.
around.
Michael's probably not watching. It's a little hot for him today. I saw him and Libby this morning.
I saw them Monday night at the sales.
I did
Talked
not.
to them a bit. Yep. Congratulated them on the big win this weekend.
Yeah. Back-to-back days because they own Dancing with the Stars.
I saw a lot of luminaries of the sport at the sales, as you well know, because we spoke. Anyhow, head over to Naira Bets if you're not a member.
Why are you not a member?
That's the question.
We're
you have-
halfway. We're almost halfway
I'm
through
not
the
going to
meet.
say I'm going to tie you to the railroad tracks if you don't become a member of Naira Bets, but I can't account for what Anthony might do.
I mean, listen. I'll be telling you, I'm bound to do anything at this point.
You may want to take that jacket off before you tie anybody to the railroad tracks. Use the promo code SPA200. We'll match you $200 of your initial deposit. Play through Naira Bets. Support racing in New York. Play through Naira Bets. Saturday contests. $300 buy-in. You have till 5 o'clock on Saturday. Fun contests. Great way to get involved. Live money, et cetera, Naira.com/contests. $187,640 in the Pick 6 carryover. Starts in race number 5 today. Second carryover of the meet. Nice, juicy carryover. And last, but certainly not least,
Never least.
1 to 6:30 p.m. Saratoga Live. Joining all the fun. Anthony,
Yes,
it's
sir.
a pleasure having you back.
Pleasure was. Thank
Pleasure
you.
was all mine. It is. I've missed
Pleasure
you
was
over the
all
couple
yours.
days.
Yes.
Well, last weekend we had a lot of fun, and this weekend you were gone, and my life was felt empty.
I'll be here. Phil's here.
I can't wait till Phil.
Big birthday
Phil's
weekend.
here now.
Phil's. I don't know if he's here yet.
Wow.
Phil's 50 on Saturday.
Phil's 50. Really?
Yeah.
Jeez, I didn't realize he's so much older than you.
6 years.
He looks younger. We're done.
He absolutely does not.
Johnny and I will be up next to reprise the Scratch and Changes. We hope you all have a wonderful day.
Good luck in
here
the
on
Pick
day
Six.
20 as we come to the midpoint of the Saratoga 2021 meet.